Hello, everyone. Can you hear as well? Oh, good. Okay, so as presented, my name is Miguel Burguet. I work at Google for Startups as a startup partner manager. It essentially means that I design and run startup programs for startups around Europe. And so I have the pleasure to work with founders like the three that you can see here today. And we just have 15 minutes, but I just want to give you an overview of one. Give you the chance to meet some of the founders and the programs that we have, and also for the ones interested, that you can also understand a bit of how can we support startups and what can our programs offer to startups across Europe. So first of all, I just wanted to mention that each one of the founders that you see here, they participate in different programs. We have different programs across the world. So we have a participant from the Ukrainian Support Fund, which is a program that we created out of course, an important necessity that was the war in Ukraine, as you all know, where we give up to 100K non-dilutive cash, apart from all the support and the community and mentors from Google. Maria was part of a Growth Academy, which is basically our academies to help companies scale their business with what we call the best of Google, so our products, our technology, but mostly our people. And then Matthias was part of the Black Founders Fund, which is very similar to the Ukrainian Support Fund, where we give a grant of up to $100K, non-dilutive, apart from all the support and community. And Matthias is also a resident at our Google for Startups campus, which is a space that Google has 100% dedicated for startups here in the heart center of Madrid. So I'm lucky enough to have him as my colleague every day here in Madrid. So guys, starting with you, Anna, just would like you to briefly present to this lovely audience, Happy Monday, what you guys do, and then I'll ask you a quick question.
Sure. Happy to be here, first of all. My name is Anna Mazur. I am a founder of Happy Monday. We are a career acceleration platform that actually matching high potential individuals with purpose-driven organizations. We do believe that work should be the one you love and the one that is about your passion. And Mondays should be happy. That's where the name comes from. Just talking about our situation briefly, we actually were operating for 4 years locally in Ukrainian markets, and we start a full-scale invasion of Russia in Ukraine. We had to expand and go outside of Ukraine in order to sustain and actually survive. So that's where the Google Startup Fund and Support Fund was very helpful for us. And now we are continuing our operation in big support, and also we are residents of Google campus in Warsaw. So that's also part of our journey together with Google.
Okay, so my question for you, Anna, and thanks for sharing. It's regarding with the program. Of course, in your case, it was a very specific moment that the entire world and mostly Europe had to leave. But I just wanted to go deeper on the program itself. So you decided to apply to the program. It was a program that was basically focused on Ukrainian companies. You had a chance to move to Warsaw. Can you comment a bit more, apart from the non-dilutive cash, that of course is a support for moving eventually abroad or hiring people abroad? What were other things from the program that really impacted your company, that you as founders, but also your team and the strategy that you had in the market?
Well, actually, to be honest, on the time of applying, we were just looking for money. So it was the only way to actually, we were hustling as crazy just in order to find the opportunities to strive and survive. Because in the just beginning of the full-scale war, we lost about more than 90% of our income. And we had some cash in order to survive for 3 or 4 months. And within that time, we had to look for funding. So that was the only reason we applied to whatever programs there were. But to be honest, I was more surprised about the outcomes of the program than I was at the beginning, because I think there are 4 main aspects that we gained. First one, we got approved in August, and we actually got funding in December. So it actually was quite a time lag. But starting from the August, I think that way of support of somebody as powerful as Google gave us as founders understanding that we are not alone. So this kind of just trust and opportunity to feel that, okay, maybe not in August, maybe in December, but actually we will have the support, and we already have the trust of big players, Google. That was the first emotional, this fundamental feeling that we actually will go over that. So that was the first for me. The second was about employees and companies, because what you see in the crisis economy is nobody knows who will actually still stay in the market tomorrow. So if you're a startup, are you stable enough to trust you for like tomorrow work? Are we going to pay you and then you will close and people won't able to work? So in that way, when we went in media that we are supported with Google Startup Support Fund, that was a huge marker for our clients to stay reliable with us, that you're going to work over it, you're going to be like on the market, so we can go and continue the work with you afterwards. And the same was with employees. We actually hired 2 senior employees because they saw that we were supported by Google, and they said, okay, these guys also will like strive for more. They are sustainable, they can provide work, and they can provide some growth, and they have this ambition to work and go globally. So that was the second point. Third one definitely is the funding and money itself. And the fourth one was mentoring and education. To be honest, I was as well skeptical. Like I got through a lot of startup programs, but what we definitely got out of it is OKR, and we started to put it inside the processes, and it's the second quarter in a row when we have all planning inside Happy Monday based on OKR system. And the second one was business model. Although it is so simple and so like logical, everyone talks about business model, but the precise workshop and attitude of Google team and knowledge was also very helpful for us to make it more flexible and also expand for other markets. So that 4 aspects were quite valuable for us.
Okay, great. So a lot of brand association and mentorship and community working.
I would say trust, loyalty, education, and fund itself.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Maria, can you briefly present Wells and a bit of the long journey so far?
So thanks for inviting me, Google, Miguel. We do billing and payment automation system for recurrent revenue businesses, especially software businesses. Our product has 3 main pillars. One is payments. We implement different payment methods to allow our customers charge their own customers globally. We have also an automation tool. We allow our customers to build any billing scenario without any technical cost, and then reconciliation part where they can put all their data in one single tool. So this is what we do. We are now based in Spain, but operating all over Europe.
Great, thank you so much. I hope you have some clients here afterwards.
Yeah, I hope so.
The question is for you, Mary. You've been part of 2 programs, a Growth Academy and a Founders Academy, which basically differs from being highly focused on business or being highly focused on the founder's well-being and all the things you have to deal in a daily life of managing other people, managing cash and managing your own life, which is also important. So what was the main takeaways for you? What were the main takeaways for you during the process, and then your relationship with Google for Startups so far that mostly impacted both you and your co-founder, but also Wells as a company?
Yeah, I think that the main takeaways for us is always network, the community, because at the end you can learn about your business everywhere, but the community is unique, and this entrepreneurship path, it's all about relationships. So for us, it's very, very important to connect with the people, with the community, because we need always support to keep going. It is very tough. We are always very comfortable talking about our successful cases, but we never talk about bad things. And this, this type of programs or this type of, for me, a special help from Google is helping us to create those environments that we are feeling safe to connect with other founders in order to talk about bad things.
I love that, because Google for Startups campus, before we were even a global team, was actually a building that was created for community only. So and that was the core back in the day in 2015. And it's what we still do. We just do it at a bigger scale now, but it's definitely in our DNA. It's like we create communities and we build those communities over time. So yeah.
And you are doing very well.
I know. Matthias, lastly but not least, can you briefly present Quorum? Then we'll jump into the VFF experience.
Okay, so Quorum is a software for legally binding online voting events. So mainly we do shareholder meetings and union elections for big corporations like Oracle, Fujitsu, Whirlpool, or Danone. Also professional associations and sport clubs like Football Club Barcelona. And what we provide is a technology with which they can vote online and it's still legal and secure.
So everyone here that have to do any kind of secure voting, you know where to go. Matthias, you were a participant of the Black Founders Fund, together with your team, international program, startups from all over the world, apart from the grant. What are your main takeaways, and before that, what were you looking for when applying, apart from the cash? Well, let's leave the cash apart for now. What were the things that you were looking for by having Google supporting your journey as a founder?
So for me, it was really positively surprising to see that Google has a program to support startups led by Black founders. The reason being less than 0.5% of the VC funding goes to startups led by Black founders. So the consequence is kids don't have reference of business leaders in the community. And I found that very interesting. And when I applied, I mean, I didn't think we would get it. It was really difficult. There were 700 startups all across Europe, and we were one of the 40 selected. And main takeaways, so reputation, community, and mentorship. Reputation, because after going through this very selective process, we have noticed that the respect from other accelerator programs, we got public funding since then. It's like you have the stamp that Google has done a selection for your startup. And then community, I always like the metaphor is like when you go to a party and you don't know anybody, and you are in a corner with your drink, and suddenly you find an old friend and introduces you to some key people in the room, so you begin to have fun. And this is what we feel with Google. It's like you are always asking us. It's not telling us you need to do this and that. It's asking us, what do you need, Matthias? I'm going to introduce you to this and that one. And it also happens also not metaphorically. You introduce us in parties to people. And then is mentorship. For example, we needed to select our first UX designer in the team. So you put us in connection to a UX expert from YouTube in the UK. And he gave us some advice on the questions we should do, how we should evaluate the curricula and everything. So it was very useful. And this is only one small example.
Okay, great. I have one final one, because we don't have a lot of time. One for the same question for all of you, which maybe we have amazing founders here that would like to get in one of the many programs that we have across the world. You've been through different programs at different moments in time. You probably have been to other programs with your companies. And my question is, what advice would you give to a founder that is now applying, or at the moment where he or she will get accepted to a program, in order for he or her to extract the most out of the program? How should this person prepare to extract everything you can out of the 3 or 5 months of program? Maybe we'll start with Matthias the other way around.
Okay, so when it comes to the selection process, it depends on the stage of the startup, but you should look for those things that an investor would ask you at this stage. So if you are in growth stage, how are your metrics? How is your team structured? Do your customers have a good reviews of your product and service? So just taking care of your company, and then selection will be much easier. And when it comes to preparing for the program, knowing your weaknesses, to ask for help, because this is what this is about, asking for help on these matters where you need it.
So that you don't waste your time, mentor's time, no one's time. Yeah, 100% agree. Mary?
It's a little bit similar, but I would say be always transparent, because everybody knows that this is not always beautiful, and Google is here for help. So if you're not transparent, if you're not telling them the problems, because they are creating that safe environment to make you feel comfortable in order to talk about bad things again. But I mean, for me, being transparent is always something that is helping me to make people want to help me too. So this is my main advice.
Anna, last one. We have 1 minute.
I think what I can add is, first one, be open about other perks than not only funding, because sometimes we just give us money and left us alone, we know what to do. So in that way, being open for education, for mentorship, for advice, for networking, that's probably something that you need to go over your selfish focus on yourself and try to use these resources. And the second one, don't be shy to form your personal request, because Google has so much resources and people and expertise, but sometimes they are not on the table for this type of program. But when you form your specific question about YouTube in US or whatever, they can find it. You can find those resources. So being not shy and ask direct questions about your personal request, that's probably the second thing I would recommend.
Okay, right on time. So first of all, thank you so much, the three of you, for joining us today. And thank you, everyone in the audience, for dedicating your time. If you have any questions about any Google problems, we have a lot, but programs, I'll be around, and we have a big booth in the entrance, so happy to connect with everyone. Have a great day.
Okay.